We had an interview today with Lee Stranahan, and he points out, here's the article from Infowars.com where we've embedded his article as well as the interview. The title is Democrats Colluded with Known Terrorist to Subvert the 2016 Election. And he breaks it down. This is very carefully researched. He said the DNC operative at the center of the Ukraine election interference was working with Democrats, and this guy was a convicted bomber. And of course, he was doing it before and after the election. Now, something is brewing in the White House, and it's not just what's happening with Attorney General Sanctions and the Russian stuff. That's part of it. But there's something that is very dangerous that's coming. As Donald Trump has been working privately with officials from the UK, preparing for a post-Brexit trade deal, they're talking about how this could be very big. It could be $50 billion a year in just a few years. And what's interesting about this is that the UK would not have been able to have these kinds of trade talks with the United States if they were still in the European Union. The European Union will not allow member states to have that kind of authority over their own affairs. And so Donald Trump praised this work. He said that the EU is protectionist. He said this is going to be very big, a lot of jobs. Yes, it will be, $50 billion, and that's coming down the pike. But let's take a look at what else is coming down the pike. We have Congress has now reached a deal on sweeping sanctions against Russia. Yes, this insanity that is coming after Donald Trump, that is threatening a worldwide war, being used as possibly as a coup against Donald Trump, it is going to turn into a worldwide trade war. Let me tell you how that's going to happen. This is being pushed by the Democrats. Representative Steny Hoyer, Democrat of Maryland, said the deal will allow for sweeping sanctions against Russia. And here's some bones that they throw to the GOP. Sanctions against North Korea and Iran, too. So they come to the Republicans and say, you don't like North Korea and Iran. We want to pretend that the Russians are our greatest threat to us. So we'll all agree that we'll have sanctions with both of them. And so the Republicans join into it. Now, the problem is that the White House is signaling that they're going to accept this. And this is a big problem because, as Reuters points out, the House sanctions are going to limit Trump's power. They're going to tie his hands in terms of being able to remove these sanctions, which are typically the prerogative of the president. And the EU is very upset about this. I said there's going to be a worldwide trade war. Well, the EU is saying that they are prepared to retaliate against Russian sanctions being prepared by the U.S. Congress. A memo that was an internal memo that has been seen by some in the media say that the EU should act, quote, within days if the new sanctions U.S. plans to impose on Russia prove to be damaging to Europe's trade ties with Moscow. What are they buying from Moscow that's so important? They're buying their natural gas, the pipeline. And so these European countries are furious. They're saying the fear is that American policy would restrict the behavior of European countries and impact energy policy within the EU. They say Europe's energy supply is our concern and we should control it. And this gets to the key of what's happening with Syria. There are different factions who want to supply that gas. Competing factions. And that is a part of why they want regime change. And this could trigger a worldwide trade war if Donald Trump is foolish enough to allow them to tie his hands and paint him in a corner. We'll be right back.
We're selling a product, DNA Force, that is the very best nutraceutical that we can produce. Dr. Group, you took years for you to develop DNA Force for us.
It's been something that I've been working on for a long time, Alex, because I think it's very, very important. What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying.
We chose the PQQ because it has over 175 different clinical trials. It's one of the most effective substances in the world. It works like an antioxidant. It works to repair nerve growth factor.
So this is a formula to deliver the maximum amount. It's in powder form.
We have so many 5-star reviews. I take this. This is the product that I take.
InfoWarsLife.com, and the profit we make, we fight the globals. We fight the New World Order. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.